Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 3 of Life and Fight of a podcast. I'm Jake Cross from Empire Grappling, and my second host here is Simon Price from Hive.
Hi guys, so thank you for tuning in again. So Jake, not spoke to each other much last week. How you getting on mentally? Like keeping well in yourself?
Just keeping myself busy, ticking over, trying to get as much work done as possible, even in this technical quiet time, creating new stuff like this podcast. I've got another podcast with a couple of friends. I watch a lot of wrestling. Try and keep myself and my brain ticking over creatively and ideas. But yeah, what about yourself, Si? You've been busy?
Yeah, same thing really, mate. Like I said, I've got this project podcast going. I've got another podcast going with another friend. Keeping Hive going as well. I've moved everything online, so I've been delivering quite a few classes, 6 days a week, which I'm really enjoying. The interaction is great, and it's keeping me in shape as well. It's stopping me from raiding the biscuit tin and going back to the ultra heavyweight rather than staying around where I want to be. But yeah, you mentioned you got a few new things going business wise. Like you mentioned, you're doing some extra bits for UKFC. Do you want to touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, so as of next week, I'm going to be interviewing quite a few fighters. Just really touching base with them, seeing where they're up to, if they're still able to train, how they're training. Because technically right now, we've still got our event at the end of May. That's still up in the air, whether that still goes ahead. We're sort of taking it day by day, so we've got a couple of fights confirmed. So even if the event doesn't go ahead, we still want to touch base with our champions, our roster. So I'll be touching base on that next week. So if you want to check it out, UK Fighting Championships across all social media or UKFC MMA on the rest of them, they should be going out mid next week onwards. So that should be quite fun.
I'll keep an eye out for that, mate. Sounds quite interesting. What you've got coming ahead.
Sweet. So I think what have you been doing business wise in relation to the other podcast? You're going over the some matches, aren't you? Some jiu-jitsu matches.
Yeah. So what we're trying to do with it is trying to sort of break down some matches. We're looking back over the archives on some of the older matches and sort of going through it, and we're picking out between 3 and 5 sort of key points. And we're sort of watching it over, breaking it down, and just trying to take away as many lessons as we can. But also, one thing that I'm noticing that I'm really enjoying is the techniques that you're seeing that are prevalent today. 10 years ago, are still being quite dominant. Like the leg locks and stuff weren't as prevalent with everybody because the knowledge base might not have been quite there. But some of the other control points, they're all there. And it's really fascinating to see as a player, coach, and competitor. It's quite nice to see, and it's quite nice to go back over it and sort of see where it's being used in a live setting.
If anyone wanted to sort of watch you break down these matches, where could they find them?
Yeah, so we've got our first ones up on YouTube now. We're called the Grapplers Academy. So you can find us on YouTube there, and we are in the process of getting the Facebook page set up and the Instagram page. But yeah, find us at the Grapplers Academy on YouTube, and everything's going to be going up onto there.
Sweet. So any matches you covered so far?
Yeah, so we did the Barnett D Lister one, which when I first watched it, about 7 years ago now, it was pretty much just on the surface, side control versus regard, and as a less educated player, I kind of got bored of the match, if I'm being honest with you, mate. But looking back now and sort of breaking it down and diving deeper into it all, it's quite a fascinating match, and you can sort of see the difference in the skill set between them. Not saying that either one was better than the other, but just the training, the technical background, with Barnett being more catch, Dean Lister being very much jiu-jitsu player, and sort of seeing them two worlds come together. And we've just done the Palhares and Galvao match from 2011. That one was really insane to go back over. And there's a point where Galvao had Palhares' back, and it was a concept that I was kind of going over with Cam and that bit with Darren recently on controlling the back and the difference to what's traditionally taught to what was used in this match. And seeing it in that sort of level and being used so effectively against such a big, powerful player. It was quite an educational experience for me as well.
Sweet. So moving on to sort of current affairs, is there anything that we should touch on, do you think?
Yeah, like I think the hot goss at the moment for everyone is 249. Like, we had the first disappointment where it's like Habib and Ferguson's been taken away from us, but then Gaethje came in, saved the day, and I was like, this has the potential to be a really great, entertaining match. And then it's almost like they just took the rug from underneath us, and we're sat in our ass, and we're just left without anything.
Yeah, like, so if for those that haven't seen the news in the sort of last 12 to 15 hours, the ESPN higher-ups and the Disney higher-ups, because they're all involved, have basically told Dana White and the UFC to stand down. They don't want them to put on this event. It's just too risky. It doesn't look good for them showcasing an event on their platform on ESPN Plus, on ESPN HD, or whatever platform you're watching it, because it can affect them and the way they look in their eyes. So they told them to stand down, not just for UFC 249, but the foreseeable future, which it's disappointing because it was something looking forward to. But I probably agree with ESPN and Disney on this case. I think it's the smartest thing to do. I think it would help get the world back in order as fast as possible. But what are your thoughts on it, sir?
Yeah, so like I do agree that it's not probably the most intelligent thing to do, but there are intelligent ways and safe ways that they can deliver this event. Obviously, it's unforeseen circumstances that nobody could have predicted, so there was no sort of precautions they could have put in place. But I do think that the UFC and the powers that be are a big enough and powerful enough machine to be able to deliver and coordinate an event of this sort of magnitude safely and ensure the fighter's safety and ensure all the official safety and everybody that's going to be involved in the event. I'm sure they can find a way to deliver it safely. Like, there are rumours that Dana White's sort of trying to organise a private island to deliver these events from.
Very interesting if that happens.
Definitely. Sort of like I've been seeing memes all week about like old Mortal Kombat style ones where sort of there's a Dana White sat up on this big throne, giving the thumbs up or the thumbs down, whether to finish him, and being some sort of kumite like the old Bruce Lee Enter the Dragon style, which it would have been fantastic to watch. But like I said, I understand it.
Yeah, I completely agree. I completely think that it's the best call to sort of postpone it because it's putting a lot of people's lives at risk, and it's not just the people directly that are fighting or competing that are working the event. It's just a wider audience and not people watching, fans, family, people they come in contact with, delivery people, whatever it may be. And the Rose Namajunas, unfortunately, is, from what I've seen online, that she's lost two family members because of COVID-19, which is really, really sad to hear, because she pulled out before even the event was pulled anyway. Maybe that's a straw that broke the camel's back, and Disney and ESPN heard that and was like, pull it, because I think Disney and ESPN were both like, this event's not going to happen. Something's going to happen. They're going to lock something down. They won't find a loophole. And then the UFC and Dana's found a loophole, and we have to tell them to pull it. Maybe that was like an insurance thing or an agreement thing for Dana and UFC. Were like, well, we were willing to put on the event. We agreed 50 events for ESPN a year. We were still willing to fulfill that. This is why we put on this head. You've told us to not put on the event. So therefore, until you tell us we can, that's part of the agreement, and that's sort of their loophole to still get paid for the 50 events or whatever it is.
No, of course, completely understand that, and obviously thoughts go out to Rose Namajunas and her loved ones. Like, it's not an easy thing to do, and that was something that I was going to mention. Like, it's at this time now, like, it's very selfish of us to kind of want and expect these athletes to go ahead with these events. Like, it's the time for everyone to try and respect the guidelines, spend time with our family and loved ones, and kind of possibly even reconnect with those lost connections that we've not really had time to go into. But like I said, selfishly, I'd have loved the event to go on, but I completely understand why it's been pulled, and thoughts go out to anybody that's been affected by this virus. But yeah, I have to agree with you there. I do think that this possibly was a loophole for UFC to take advantage of, to not break their end of the contract, because they're still willing to deliver. Maybe Dana White knew all from the beginning that he probably would get pulled, and he was kind of like, like, was it the game Chicken, where the first one to back out sort of loses? And maybe Dana White was just calling the bluff, sort of being like, if you're going to play hardball, we're going to put these events together because we've got the facilities to do so. And if you're going to fine us for not fulfilling the contract, well, we're just going to fulfill the contract for you until you tell us not to.
Yeah, I think that's probably the case, because there was same sort of scenario with Vince and the WWE, where he was still willing to put WrestleMania on, even though it wasn't in a massive stadium, it was in a warehouse, which he still went ahead because he had contracts to still go with his network, with the USA, with Fox, and obviously his pay-per-view platforms. And then until he's told not to, he can then claim off his insurance, or maybe he could still claim off his insurance because he had no audience there. But from feedback from what I've read since, it was the most interactive pay-per-view. It was one of the most watched pay-per-views they've ever had. And I think that's what the UFC would have had with 249, because we've had, is it 5-6 weeks since the last UFC now, maybe, something like that. It would have been people chomping at the bit for something to watch, something different, something live, something unpredictable. So I think that it could have broke all records within reason, and especially if it kept Khabib and Tony. I would have been quite confident with that. Tony and Gaethje, most likely maybe 2 million pay-per-view buys, more or less. It's sad that we don't have something fresh to watch. The only thing that I've been happy about, and it's something that I've only just recently got into, was I got into American football, the XFL, because Vince Dury owned it, and I thought I'll give it a chance. It's Vince. He always does something. He creatively does something quite well, so I thought I'll give it a chance. It made me understand the rules, and now the NFL have got their draft. I think it's in like 2 weeks, and Sky have just announced they're doing it live over 3 days. Don't know how they're going to do it. It might be a bit like this. But it's something live, something sport to watch for 3 days. So even though I don't really understand it, and most people don't like it, it's something live, something to watch. I'm surprised they're not playing golf with no audience, because I think that's the most social distancing thing ever. One person on a tee. But I think there's ways around it. I just don't think fighting or wrestling or grappling is the right thing to do at this time, even though we all selfishly want it.
Oh, of course. I think like one thing that they could possibly do is see what the NBA are doing with instead of having live games, they're having NBA 2K tournaments on I think it's on ESPN. So maybe they might have some sort of UFC Xbox tournament.
UFC 3. That's clever, that. The F1 is doing that with virtual F1, but it's not their drivers doing it. It's like main golf people and cricket stars. They're all playing in certain cars, and I'm just having a bit of a laugh doing that. I've seen that about an hour of that over the last few weeks, and it looks quite funny. But I would prefer it if the main 20 drivers, like your Hamiltons, your Verstappens, your Leclercs and Alonso's, that they were doing all that, and I think that would be quite fun to watch. Even if you just,
I think though,
go.
So I think I'd much prefer to watch them play something like Mario Kart or Super Smash Brothers with microphones and cameras on them, so you can sort of see the reaction and the frustration from there. Because I don't know about you, but like the last time I played the UFC game, it was way too complicated. Let's get the old fight night. Yeah, let's get the old fight night going, where it's like X, circle, square, whatever the controls are, just for simple punches, and just get like the reaction cameras on them, because I think that would be far more entertaining.
Yeah, like a Tekken. Like a Tekken, as basic as that.
Yeah.
Tekken,
that would be absolutely brilliant.
What else was there? Tekken, Mortal Kombat. Street Fighter, that's the one that I was thinking of. You could easily do tournaments like that. Like even though this is a bit more technical, I'm surprised that football teams, because you can do this now on Ultimate Team, I think it is on FIFA or something like that, where you can have 11 players. So you can have a starting squad play each individual player, and they've got to work as a team to try and win. And you could say like a Chesterfield versus MK Dons or whatever at the lower leagues, or even like United versus City. I think that would be so watched, and maybe not have it over 90 minutes, maybe have 15 minutes a half or something like that, a bit more cramped down, and you can enjoy it because you play FIFA with your mates, and in 2 6-minute halves, it could be 7-0. It's a bit too much. Try and make it a bit more realistic, but I think
maybe that as well, like a full tournament in a day would be insane. And like, I'm not personally a football fan, but I think if they had the microphones on there and there was plenty of trash talk and the reaction cams, I could see that being quite an entertaining kind of like tournament to watch.
Yeah, there's at the minute, me and 6 of my mates are playing FIFA, where I'm awful at FIFA. I'm not the best, but it's just something to do. Where in the first match I got beat like 8-0 because this guy constantly plays. But I tried to make it a bit fairer and was like, right, we're only going to play League One teams. So I chose Rochdale because that's my second team, and they've chose like Peterborough, Fleetwood, etc. And one of my mates actually tweeted to say I'm playing on, because all of these are getting recorded on Twitch, so anyone can watch them. If you just search like Empire Jake on Twitch or whatever, it will come up. He tweeted that he's playing on Twitch and he's playing with Peterborough, and he put like their handle is like @PoshFootball, and they seen it, retweeted him and said best of luck. So it's like people are getting involved that you would never expect.
Oh, fantastic! That's brilliant. That.
So it's something to do, something that you try and do creatively with your mates that try and keep you entertained.
No, definitely. And like with the current day and age, like it's for people who want to try and essentially go out on a new venture and try and earn some sort of secondary income through the streaming software and things like that. Now's the time to do it. Everyone's at home with the audience there. So why not take advantage of that? And like you said, get the FIFA games going and like do what KSI's managed to achieve.
Oh, you mean like on his level, the boxing side?
Yeah, not necessarily like going to like for competing in boxing and stuff, but more so like reaction videos, getting a following for like gameplay and sort of tapping into that market if you enjoy doing games for your downtime. Like you've got more time at home now, so like if it's something that you've tried to do or considered doing. Like me with podcasting, for me, it's always something that I've said I wanted to do. And then now I've got the time and obviously the right people to do it with, we've started it. And hopefully...
Yeah. What we are now, episode 3 in 7 days, so it's not that bad.
No, not at all.
I don't, obviously touching on our previous episode with Brian Lacey, which was a great, it's got loads of interest on that.
Thoroughly enjoyed that one.
Since then, I never had TikTok, so I've downloaded it since then just to watch his videos. You probably had it beforehand.
Do you know what? I've never actually used it. It's not.
Mate, if you haven't, it's hilarious. Some of the stuff. It's only because you mentioned KSI I thought I'd bring it up because it is pretty funny, and there's a lot of young people on there, but there is some comical videos, especially now that more adults are on it. But you mentioned KSI, and I don't know if you've ever seen it. He has got like a group called Sidemen.
I've heard of it, but I've not seen it yet.
It's hilarious. Like some of the jokes, like there's like a cardboard sort of cut out stand, and they have to stand in front of it. It's like a live comedy Tinder. So there's a girl there, and it goes like, "You're right." And it's like, "Are you into fitness?" And this is crude, so I apologize for anyone that's listening. Are you into fitness? And she's like, "Yeah." It's like, "Can you fit this dick?" Stuff like that. Man. And then the woman's got to literally go like, "Yes, I like that," or "No." And there's loads of comedy ones. There's crude. There's hilarious. And there's like, I don't know who he is, but I've seen him. It's like, apparently I'm a guy of good taste, according to my uncle. Come on, Si.
No. Honestly, this is all new to me. Like my social media is YouTube and Instagram. Like, and I barely like most thing I spend time on now is YouTube watching. There's 2 guys I follow, DJ Samero, and other podcast clips. But yeah, like a lot of people are putting me onto these sort of social media trends, and I'm like,
just something to laugh at in this time. I was in stitches on some of them, but if anyone's listening that hasn't got it, I'll just download it just to watch the hilarious. There's some bad ones on there, but there's some ones where you literally laugh. But it's like Facebook, you just get lost in videos for a long time. But I definitely recommend. We're on to UFC 249. We'll quickly touch on news that will most likely get cancelled. We don't know, which is UFC 250. So that was billed as a main event as Henry Cejudo, bantamweight champion, defending his belt against former featherweight champion in Jose Aldo. Jose is now out.
Yeah,
Do you know why?
unfortunately.
Has he been released? Any reason why? Is it because of all this? Maybe he's in Brazil.
Possibly, yeah. Like I've not really seen much about why he's out, but I can't lie. I'm quite happy with his replacement. Like we've got Dominic Cruz stepping in as
Former champion.
yeah, like it's great, and I just managed to get it up here. It says here Jose Aldo amongst other Brazilians. Oh, there's quite a few changes. So apparently the Brazilians that are on the card of 250 are out because of the visa issues because of this pandemic.
Right, because they've locked most things down. That makes sense. So
Yes.
they've not said where it's going to be because it was where it's changed to. But the rumours that if it does go ahead, it'll be at the location they want to do 249. So that'll be Tachi Palace Casino Resort on May 9th. That's 4 weeks away.
I honestly I can't see unless Dana White managed to get his Mortal Kombat Island. I can't see this event going ahead in a venue like the such. And again, I think they're just going to play the hardball with it and be like, we're still going to run this event until you tell us not to.
It's crazy to look at. I was reading here that Dominic Cruz has not fought since UFC 207 in 2016.
Oh, wow.
That's 4 years nearly. Well, depending on when in 2016 the UFC 207 was. I think it was the end. Was it December? UFC 207?
Yeah, I think
against
so.
TJ Dillashaw?
No, the last one was Cody Garbrandt, his opponent, wasn't it? 207. December 30th, 2016, I've got up here.
Yeah, so it's 3 and a bit years since.
Yeah.
Great fight. I don't know why he's still been out for so long. His injuries and stuff. Is he still going to be fit to fight? Henry's no joke. Henry is,
for me, probably one of the fighters with the highest fight IQ. Great to watch him. Like his transition, like his Danger Mouse fights were entertaining.
Yeah, him and Demetrius.
Yeah, really, really entertaining fights. But like I said, he's coming off quite a few good wins. Like his last one was again last June with Marlon Moraes.
Yeah, the World Series of Fighting All champion, if I remember rightly.
Yeah,
I think Henry's probably one of the best fighters in the history of it. I think he's trying to be something he's not, though. The way his character is, because he's a nice, chilled out guy, and now he's trying to be this. I'll fight anyone. I'll fight the women for their belts just to get more belts. And I get it's a laugh, but is it really needed? You just sound like a prick.
yeah, I agree. Like there's no need for it. Like everyone's trying to copy the Conor McGregor model and they're just making themselves look foolish at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think Conor, even though he's elaborate, it looks and seems natural, even though it's a lot of it's taken from an entertainment sort of point of view, maybe a wrestling promo point of view. It's not forced. It doesn't seem forced. It's naturally comes back with witty remarks that become memes. Whereas in Cejudo, I just feel like it's very, very forced and very planned out, and it still looks bad.
Who at the end of the day, who calls out who calls out the opposite sex for a fight?
Yeah, him and Valentina Shevchenko, because she's flyweight now, isn't she?
Yeah.
I don't think Cejudo's going to make flyweight again. Fly.
Like this is nothing against the female fighters because they're very highly skilled. It's just I'm not a fan of, especially with combat sports, of mixing for MMA. It's not something that personally I'd like to watch or want to watch. Like there was a fight what they're in Brazil a couple of years ago where they mixed the genders. For me personally, it's not something that I'd tune in for, and I lost a lot of respect for Cejudo when he came out with those statements.
Yeah, I think Cejudo will win against Cruz. That's if it does go ahead. But I would a little bit want Cruz to win, maybe a comeback story or a bit because of the way Henry is. But he is still one of the best fighters, and sometimes some of the best fighters in the world are just dicks.
Yeah, true. I think you've got to look at it as well. Like, if anyone's following like Brendan Lotnane's Instagram, they can see how active Dominic Cruz is just from there.
Yes.
So I do think Dominic Cruz is still training, and I do think he's still sparring. So if Dominic Cruz turns up on the day, it will be a very interesting fight.
If he can, I think if he can stay away from the takedowns, and I think that said a lot about a lot of fights. Styles make great matches and stuff, but I think if he can keep his movement going, very, very fast pace, pick him apart, I think he'd be good. But I think sooner or later, especially over 5 rounds, I think Cejudo will catch you with a takedown, or maybe even catch you with a right or left hand anyway. I think he's that powerful.
Yeah.
So I think there's more in the arsenal for Henry to win than Cruz. I just don't think Cruz has got the power to finish, especially someone like Cejudo. If I had to put my house on it, I'd put Henry.
But I think at the same time as well, you have got Cejudo's going to have the weight disadvantage. Dominic Cruz will be used to fight at the heavier weight, won't he? So that may...
Maybe. Cejudo has struggled up until maybe a couple of times that he's fought at flyweight for the belt. He has struggled to make that weight, especially before he became champion. There was rumours that he would never even make it. He was making 127s, 128s. Then made it for, I think, the fight before DJ. Then made it for the rematch and a few fights in between. Well, that's why he stepped up and he's relinquished it, even though it's technically still vacant, because someone else missed weight that won the fight against Benavides. Was it Figueroa? That's, I think, his name. Figueroa missed weight, but he knocked Benavides out. I think that was like February time.
Yeah.
I'm actually February 29th, actually, if I remember rightly. Yeah, same day as UKFC. Because on my betting pool, I've got Figueroa, and I was buzzing that he won, but I didn't get that many points because he missed weight and he didn't get the belt out of it. Anything else you want to touch on MMA-wise?
Yeah, I think one thing we could probably touch on is Anthony Smith defending his family from a home invader.
I've literally heard a tiny bit about this. What happened?
So apparently somebody broke into his house and he fought off this home invader who actually turned out to be a wrestling champ from in the area.
NCAA?
I'm not too sure of his credentials, but I'm pretty sure he had a pretty strong record in the wrestling scene, especially amongst the collegiate wrestlers.
So that sort of wrestling style?
Yeah. And apparently he must have broke in with some sort of weapon as well, which obviously it's a terrifying experience. I don't know the full details of the incident, but he managed to defend his family, and thankfully they all came out safe. But yeah, I don't know who this kid thought he was trying to break into an MMA fighter's house.
Maybe that's what it is. He wasn't thinking.
No, very true. Very true.
Have it's been explained if Anthony was asleep, if it was in the day? Have they said anything like that?
I think it was at the night time. Says he woke up in the early hours to find the guy that broke into his house screaming at the top of his lungs. And I'm not sure why you break into someone's house to sort of start screaming, but says that Smith managed to subdue him, and the guy got arrested and got charged, and it was in Nebraska. So this guy
sounds like he might be a bit looper, maybe. If he's gone into a house and screaming, maybe he wanted the attention.
Most certainly under the influence. I think at that time of the morning, he's definitely under the influence of something.
Do they have spice in Nebraska?
It's quite possible. It's probably why he got subdued so easily, especially if he's got this wrestling background.
Yeah, true. Very, very true. Well done, Anthony. Keeping your family safe from scroats and burglars.
Yeah, no, definitely. But I think one thing that you mentioned earlier, what was it with Ronda and Gordon you were mentioning?
Yeah, so I seen on a little clip on Instagram. Let's get it up for everyone that's watching. Where was it? So let me just put the videos up so I can see everything. So, okay, so this is Ronda's Instagram. I actually seen it on Gordon's previously, but I couldn't find it enough. So Ronda Rousey and Gordon Ramsay have been working together. So I'll quickly play this little clip showing a little preview of it.
You're a good cook, man. You should do this for a living.
Come on, arm wrestle.
Right.
Yeah, let's go, bitch. Today, trust me, I am super excited because she is an Olympic medalist, one of the most prolific UFC fighters. She's now a WWE star, and guess what? She's turned into a chef because she's raising her own cattle and she's brought some of that ingredient here. Oh shit, you are f***ing kidding me. I cannot believe that. Ronda has set the alarms off. Right, there's an amazing badass in my kitchen, and trust me, her name does not start with a G. Now click the link to watch an All You Scrambled with this incredible lady. You do not want to miss it. If you do, she'll put you in a headlock.
I love Ronda's face there. He's like, she'll put you in a headlock, and she's there going, nah.
But no, not a chance, mate. Do you know what's funny? And this just how things get connected. I was watching the Gordon Ramsay, Gino, and what's he called? Is it Paul or something like the guy that's the waiter on First Dates?
Yeah, on First Dates. Yeah, their new show that they're doing.
Yeah, so they were in Mexico sorting food out or going through food and lifestyle and whatever. And they actually got into Lucha Libre. And they're all dressed up. So Gordon's got like Great British flag spats on United Kingdom. Gino's got his Italian. Is it Paul?
Well, we'll call him Paul for the sake of this.
Paul, Phil, something like that.
Yeah.
No, Fred. Is that sounds right? Fred. So he's got his French spats on. Then it's like the other day with Paul Doyle. I've got Paul in my head.
It is Fred. Fred Saru.
Saru. I feel that's supposed to be calling him Paul.
Oh, Saru.
And Gino De Campo. So they're doing Lucha Libre, getting trained to do a little match. They did it in a little bit of an audience. It just makes us like he's doing that with Ronda. But we'll put the link on the YouTube for that YouTube video. I think it's like 12 minutes long, the full video. It's quite entertaining. I think it's funny that Gordon and Ronda, they're both quite fiery characters. So I definitely recommend that. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think as soon as we finish recording here, I think I might have to try and get it up on YouTube and give it a watch while I'm trying to follow along with the cooking.
So, well, anything that Gordon puts together is normally quite decent.
Definitely.
Like all the ingredients, but yeah, that did make me laugh. I thought a bit of a pop culture within what we're doing. Yeah, I think maybe the next thing for me then is slide on the Ronda and the wrestling link. Is what I'm watching at the minute. I'm watching it's hard to describe it. So it's called NWA Power for anyone that's not a wrestling fan or is a wrestling fan. It's National Wrestling Alliance, which is probably the oldest sort of touring factor of the wrestling industry, especially in America. And there is an owner now that's bought it. He's in the music industry. I think it's a Smashing Pumpkins owner, if I got that right. I'm just quickly Google as I'm talking. So
I'll do that while you.
Yeah, so I'm sure it's Smashing Pumpkins. I might be getting that wrong. So he's running NWA Power. He bought NWA. He's a big wrestling fan. And he's brought in a few different wrestlers that you may know: Ken Kennedy, Melina, Eli Drake, Magnus, who was Oblivion on the second generation of Gladiators back in the UK. He's their world champion. And he's doing it in a TV studio set very 80s style. And it's all on YouTube. It's all free. They're about 50-minute episodes. They've done about 20 so far. And it's just very, very strange because all the adverts are very 80s style, very like in your face and fireworks and very corny references. I just think it's very different to the mainstream stuff I'm watching. So just something else for people to watch.
I might have to give that a go, that.
Yeah,
I'm on right.
At the minute.
You were right. It was Billy Corgan, Smashing Pumpkin.
That's it. So obviously he's very into the music industry. History on him, he bought Impact Wrestling, so TNA, a few years ago. But he only owned a certain percentage of it, and he was getting pushed out and things weren't going right, and there's a distrust in the locker room. So he just got out of it and then bought NWA. So he's a big wrestling fan. He's trying to give back. It's just very, very different in what you see, but it's pushing the stars right. They don't come out to any music. It's very raw. The crowd there, just like you would watch, I don't know, Bruce's Price is Right or anything like that. But the camera's looking at the audience, so you can see their reaction for a lot of it. I would definitely recommend that. I'll put a link on our YouTube as well for.
What did you say that was called?
NWA and then Power. The Power's got 3 R's.
That sounds very powerful then.
But
Yay!
Anything else you want to touch on, Si?
Yeah, so like going back off what we're watching, like a few things that I've been watching really, like I finally got round to sort of the Tiger King. I've got 1 episode left.
Amazing. What do you think of that so far?
Like, watched the first episode and I thought, right, this is great. It can't get any more bizarre. Every episode has managed to surpass the bizarreness. And you know what? I'm loving the memes as well. Like, the best one that I've seen is, what was the one there? It's like the guy's pouring gasoline into another tank while smoking a cigarette in a room full of petrol tanks. And it's like, wow. The show is that bizarre that nobody noticed what he was doing. It's like, oh, that's just normal. He's smoking a cigarette around petrol and petrol tanks whilst pouring petrol into another container. I was like, yeah. it's so and I've got the finale. Yeah, we're like saving the finale. Me and my partner, Nicole, like we're going to watch it together. I think we're going to Zoom it or find some way using the marvelous technology we've got to watch the final together. And I'm honestly like excited to watch it because I just don't know where it's going to go.
Well, I think it's in 2 days, on April 12th. They've actually announced Netflix that they're going to do an extra episode. So that's coming out in 2 days.
Oh.
So technically it's not the finale, but it technically is. So get that watched, get the next one watched. I'm going to be watching that when it comes out. I think it's a bit like a bit more of an aftermath episode to see where things are up to. Maybe I might be wrong.
It'd be interesting to see sort of what's happened in the years since everything that's happened. But I'm definitely tuning in for that.
Just whilst we're on the next subject there of what we're watching, so I threw something to this morning, didn't I? A video that I seen.
Yeah.
You seem to know all about this guy anyway, so I'll quickly get it up.
Yeah. So what Jake's talking about here, while he's getting the video up, is there's an artist called Joyner Lucas, and he did for me, which probably the most nostalgic song that sort of reminisced my growing up. It was the one with Will Smith. So Jake's got his Instagram up here.
So he did a song there.
Yeah, and he did a song where he referenced like all of Will Smith's films, his TV, Fresh Prince of Bel-Air TV show, and the song for me is fantastic. It's really well written, and his album ADHD, it came out I think officially last week or the week before. And he'd been like slowly leaking it, like dropping songs every couple of weeks over the past like 6 months or so. But for anyone who's a fan of hip hop or just conceptual like sort of storytelling music, this album is really good to listen to. And if you like his album, you'll love his old stuff. But this Will Smith song that you sent, is there a sort of clip on there that you found?
Yeah, from his Instagram. So it's more of a video clip of. Basically what I seen this morning was Will Smith speaking to his son Jaden on like a Zoom like this. Oh, it actually was Zoom, funnily enough. And then he pulled Joyner Lucas into the call. So this is a little bit from that.
Time you watch this video?
Like, this will be my 9th time right now.
I think I'm a prince, I'm feeling myself. Damn it, I made it, I look at my son. I feel like I'm dreaming, he's fully a blessing. I'm really elated, I pray that he grow up like Willow with Jaden. I know that he's me and my homies for We roll up on
Sterilizer.
Yeah.
my life is a flick. Now load up the film.
I'm going up.
That's good
The
stuff.
video.
Look at Jaden.
That's my real son too, man.
Shorty who sucked
That's crazy. That's fantastic.
talking. I wish that she come.
Dress him up. Just like Jaden. He's so fire. Time you watch this video.
Like, this will be my...
I've got to say, watching that, like, because I know the artist's story and I know, like, his other work, and I know I'm a massive Will Smith fan. Like, my actual first musical album that I owned was Will
Millennium?
Smith, Big Willie style.
All right, okay.
So before Millennium,
Millennium.
like, and I was getting goosebumps watching that then. Like Joyner Lucas has got a fantastic backstory. And he's very honest and open in his music as well.
Is he from Philly as well?
I'm not too sure where he's. I think he's from. He might be, or maybe Detroit. I'm not too sure.
Oh,
like
okay.
that's my fault there. Like I should probably know that, being a fan of him. But yeah, like I'm a massive fan of his music and his backstory.
Just
See if I
trying to
can
get
find it up
myself
here.
to see. No. where is-
Massachusetts he's from.
Worcester.
Yeah. But no, he's got like his early work. It's a lot more raw. But I'd highly recommend going into listening to that. Is yeah, like you can see how excited I am about it right now. And
It's nostalgic though, isn't it?
oh mate, I was getting goosebumps listening to it and watching the videos. Like, yeah. And funnily enough as well, the instrumental that was used there was the guy that made the instrumental used that on another song for a parody, mocking another artist. And I think he heard that, asked him for it and used it for this song. So,
amazing. One thing that I did on YouTube, I watched a full video of what they were watching, and then it gave me a link to Revenge.
Yes. Yeah.
But the full video, and it's like a movie, the way the start is, and then it goes into the song. And I think that's quite good, the amount of effort he puts into it, especially like the amount of different wardrobe changes he had to do in there. And then he got his real son to play young Jaden from Pursuit of Happiness.
Yes.
The Men in Black get up, the Wild Wild West get up when you see the video. Even the paint in the face to go into, is it a fishtail? I think that's the film.
A shark's tail, wasn't it?
A shark's tail, that's it.
Yeah.
So it's a very, very clever guy, and it's someone that because of this morning, I will be looking out to more. Is there any other music artists that you're into at the minute?
Yeah, so just off while we're on Joyner Lucas, like a few of you might know about him, but like a few of his sort of standout songs that got a lot of attention. There's one called "I'm Not Racist." It's a very, very good.
I expected a
song.
but then, just because that's what normally says. I'm not racist, but
yeah, no. Oh. But yeah, no, not from there. But like that's the name of the song. I'm not racist, and it's the song's the discussion between a black guy and a white guy, and
is it a redneck like a "Make America Great Again"? I've got it up here. I'm going to be watching that afterwards. We're not going to play anything more from YouTube, just in case we get in trouble.
Yeah, no, not at all. We've got his song "Frozen" as well. Very, very hard hitting. And there was one that he did that was his sort of first sort of push onto the that sort of got him popular and got him sort of viral was a song he did about suicide. And it was the first sort of half of the song was from the person's perspective of that was committing the act. And then the next half of the song was from somebody who was close to the person that committed suicide and them sort of being like, why did you do it? And again, it's such a really hard-hitting song. And I'd highly recommend going back and listening to his catalogue if you get the chance.
Yeah, I like stuff like that. I like sort of like pop culture references. So when I watch wrestling, and you've got Mauro Ranallo, who does a lot of MMA commentary, does the wrestling. The amount of pop culture references he comes out of and he compares to, he's crazy. But it does can make you connect to things. It's like there was I think it might have been Power, the TV series. There was an artist on that which I heard, and I can't remember off the top of my head, so I apologise for being a bit blunt. So he was just an artist on there. I heard a song, Shazammed it, and then I got into his album because of that. But that was about 4 or 5 years ago. And I think one of his songs I still do come across a lot when I'm in the gym. But it's little pop culture stuff like that you come across that you, now that I've, because I like Will Smith, and Will Smith has shared that, and then I watch him, and now because you've recommended him as well. And then I shared it this morning, I think someone else commented saying his album's amazing. So why not just give him a chance, and everyone else out there should as well.
No, definitely. But yeah, I think off the back of that, we'll put his YouTube channel in the description as well. So anybody that does want to go and check him out, he's got his full album on his channel for free. So I'd highly recommend it. But off the back of that as well, there's another album that's sort of been released this week that, well, it's been come out this morning. I've not had a chance to listen to it yet, but for anybody who's a fan of him, Tory Lanez.
How do you spell that?
So Tory Lan.
Oh, Canadian rapper.
Yeah, Canadian. He's just released an album called The New Toronto 3. And it's something that I'm most likely going to get into this afternoon. Is kind of like
that came out at midnight last night.
Yeah, so like a lot of music gets dropped on a Friday. I'm not sure why. It's just an industry thing. But that's
going into the weekend, man.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, you got to get all the tunes ready for the weekend. But no, that's definitely an album that I'll be getting into this weekend. But there's not really anything else that's been released. There's another album that's coming out. I think it's next weekend by West Side Gun called Pray for Paris. That's one that I've been waiting for a long time. So that anybody that's into sort of like your Mobb Deep and your sort of 90s boom bap sort of hip hop, go listen to the Griselda back catalogue. Benny the Butcher, West Side Gun, Benny the Butcher, West Side Gun, Conway the Machine, and they've got a few more artists on their roster. They're really, really good, and they're sort of bringing a sound back and to the forefront that's kind of was forgotten at one point, and it's nice to hear it, especially from a hip hop fan's point of view. I'm really enjoying that.
Sweet. So if you're into music, check them out. Tory Lanez, Joyner Lucas. Like you say, Joyner Lucas would both be a fan of now. I'll check out Tory Lanez, and then like I say, his new album's out. Check it out, brand new. Minimal people have heard it. Get on the front run, get it before anyone else has. Get it before Simon has. Even Simon's not watched it yet.
Get on it before it's cool.
Yes.
But anything else that you're watching at the moment, mate?
There's something. So something that I would recommend to watch at the minute, just to pass time, and it's something that I have watched already, but it's something that I'll get it up now anyway. 1 second, let me just pull it up. So, share screen. So it's the PFL, so the Professional Fighters League. So it used to be the World Series of Fighting, but then they sort of rebranded to the Professional Fighters League. So you can see in the video clip at the top, basically there's I think it's an average of 12 fighters that fight in a league, and they fight 2 fights. So you get a point for a fight. So if you're in a 3-round fight, they have a tournament thing where you have no elbows, etc., just to prevent cuts. Because I think they fight like once every 4 weeks. So you, if you win if you just win by decision, I think it's 3 points. If you win by finish in the 3rd round, it's like an extra point, an extra 2 points, an extra 3 points. The earlier you finish the fight, so if you get a 1st round submission or knockout, you walk away. I think it's 6 points, and the average to get into the semi-finals or the quarterfinals, so the playoffs, is around 6 to 7 points. So if you get a 1st round victory in any of your fights, you're laughing. So if you lose your 1st fight,
brilliant,
and then win your 2nd fight, you get 6 points. So it's a story to watch, an arc, and there is some good fighters in there. There's Lance Palmer, who's a great lightweight from World Series of Fighting. There's Mama, I'll get this right, Mamagedov or something like that. It's like he's both the same first name and surname. He's a welterweight. He's brilliant. You got Steven Siler that was in the UFC. Jake Shields has just signed for them. Jason High fights for them. Viggy Magalhaes, a big jiu-jitsu guy. He's quite clever. Ray Cooper just seen on the screen. There's Viddy there with a head kick. So basically, there's 2 seasons that have been on so far. So apologies for butchering on. So season 1 was 2018 18. So it was around 6 weeks. So they do like a featherweight and lightweight on the same night, just one fight. And the next week, I think it's on a Thursday or a Friday, they do ones. They might do heavyweights and women's. So they did the women's lightweight in season 2, which obviously is a heavy division, the normal for women, but they had the fighters there to do it. Then once you've had the sort of 6 weeks and you have both fights, the top 8 fighters of the 12 roster, like you see on the screen now, there's a quarterfinals and semi-finals in the same night. So you have, I think it's 2 rounds and then a judge's decision. And then you go into the semi-finals and that's 3 rounds. So it's like 5 rounds in one night. And if you win that, you go to New Year's Eve, you go to the finale and you fight for $1 million and the belt.
Oh,
which is
wow.
amazing set of money. And they also get paid before that. So you can see their featherweights, lightweights. There it is, Mamaged Kerimov hit the welterweight there, top right. So it's a mouthful. It just makes me laugh because it's such a brilliant name. The finale is $1 million, like I say, £1 million in the belt. But then in season 2, you don't just defend it in one fight. You've got, so Lance Palmer defended his, so let's give a spoiler, and a couple of other fighters defended theirs in season 2. We'll look to defend theirs. I won't give the spoilers if they did or didn't. But normally you're just looking, you have 1 5-round fight and you defend it and you move on. No, you've got to go through at least 5 fights to defend your belt. But the cool thing is, win it again, you get $1 million.
It's basically they're earning the keep there, aren't they? With that,
definitely, and you get paid anyway. It's not like you only get paid if you win it in the finale. But if you go on their Facebook, I don't seem to have it on YouTube for some reason. But if you go on Facebook, PFL MMA Live, that you can see here, like 670,000 followers there, 655. You've got so many videos, and if you go all the way to the bottom, PFL 1, which is here, 5 hours 30 minutes. So it's a lot of info to watch. You can spread it over to whatever time you want. It has the first round of fighters, I think it's for like the featherweights and lightweights there. And you go to PFL 2, it even films the weigh-ins for your PFL 2. You go again, and it's like the heavyweights and light heavyweights. And then you keep on going through the season. There's plenty there to watch. And if you've never seen it, and I'll give a few spoilers away there in this conversation, I apologise. But it's something to watch. I watched it when I was in work on my dinners when I was doing my 9 to 5 last year. Just something to fill the time when I was working at my desk. I would have 2 screens, one with that on and then a bit of work on the rest, or answering emails or whatever. You can do it in the background. You can stick it on, act like it's a live event, get a few mates on Zoom. You'll recognise majority of the fighters anyway from who they've signed. Like I say, they've just signed Jake Shields for season 3. They've signed Brendan Loughnane that you mentioned before for season 3. Who else in it? John Fitch was in it. Some great fighters, and like there's probably 20 events to watch, 4 or 5 hours each. It's pretty decent to follow.
Oh, definitely think I'm going to have to get into that. Great. It'd be nice to have some sort of sport where I don't know the outcome of to actually have on the TV as well, so I could treat it like a Friday or a Saturday night event as opposed to just having Law and Order SVU on repeat all week.
You're not wrong, mate, and I regret even giving a spoiler out there, but it's something cool to watch. I sort of knew the results anyway because I was playing it backwards. I watched season 2 first, then I went back to season 1, so I knew what they were talking about. And yeah. I won't give you no spoiler, but there's a person that was commentating and fighting, and he did really well. So he would literally be commentating on the undercard, then go and get changed. And he was in the UFC as well. Although I won't give names, I'll let people watch it and create their own story. But that was really, really cool. I enjoyed watching season 2. I think I've got 2 maybe events to watch for before the finale for season 1. They do other events generally as well. I think they did a couple of events before the seasons. And what's cool as well is they know some of the roster that's on season 3. So in season 2, they brought Brendan in for a couple of fights and said like he's going to be in season 3. Even if he lost, but he did quite well. So that's quite cool. Yeah, and it's on normally on a Thursday night when it is live. Obviously, when we get rid of this lockdown, it'll be back on. I think it comes in like July, August time, and then it sort of has a break after that. But yeah, if you've got any questions, hit me up. I'll give you referrals or even certain events to watch if you don't want to watch them all, or certain fighters to follow. I'll give you my recommendations.
Well, what we'll do as well, we'll put the PFL's Facebook link in the comments, in the description as well. So like I said, if you want a quick link, it's going to be in the description. But I think one more thing that I'd like to touch on is like another little thing that I'm going to be like watching as well is I do like watch a little bit of techniques and sort of technique study while I'm off. It's keeping my brain sort of going. And I just saw yesterday that Simon Hayes, black belt under Carlson Gracie, I believe.
That sounds right.
He's released like a smash pass tutorial, which from what I've heard is quite a good one. So any sort of jiu-jitsu players who enjoy a bit of a pressure pass or a bit of a smash pass, there's something there for you to watch. And another sort of technique series that I've been watching, my coach Cam, he's been releasing his front headlock series and the stuff he's been doing with Grapple Club on his Instagram page, which, like, for anyone who's had the opportunity to train with him, he's got a gnarly front headlock, gnarly sort of Pakistani handcuff skill set on him. So I'd highly recommend getting those down you as well. Like, it's really, there's some great content out there at the moment for tutorials. So just because you can't train doesn't mean you can't upskill. So that's
100%.
They're two things that I'll be definitely that I have been and I will be getting stuck into even more, is the Simon Hayes pass tutorial and the stuff from Cam on his ASW Instagram page.
Are we able to link that, do you think? We'll be able to get links for people to...
Yeah, we'll put the links in the description as well for everyone. Because, yeah, there's some great content and great knowledge out there. So let's make the most of it while we can.
If we're fortunate enough for you to listen to this podcast or watch it, you've got plenty to fill your boots in now, including what we're doing. So yeah, live by us. Why not?
Why not vicariously through us? You know, we'll make your quarantine lockdown days a little less, a little more interesting, should I say? Not less boring, more interesting. Let's keep a positive spin on it all.
Of course, if you've got any questions for us both, I'm sure myself, I'll try and help us where I can, recommendations or anything that you've got. And Simon's wealth of knowledge in jiu-jitsu and personal training, I'm sure he'll give you a hand if you need it. Drop him a link. I'll put our social media up and down what we post anyway. Anything you want to touch on, Simon, before we let everyone go?
No, I think that's everything. Just main thing is, please stay inside during this time. I know the weather's fantastic and we all want to be out there and get into the parks, but this lockdown, this quarantine's here for a reason. Like, I saw a post yesterday on Twitter from Greater Manchester Police, and there was hundreds of parties and gatherings that were broken up by the police. And now the people that are doing this, they've got better things they could be doing as opposed to stopping people from breaking these guidelines, which we like, if we want to get back to normal life, we've got to slow this thing down. Just please follow the guidelines. Like, I'm sick of being in quarantine, but I'm sick of not training. I'm sick of just not living a life that we kind of want to, but we've just got to do it. Take the bullet for this short period of time. And yeah, just help the NHS more than anything.
Yeah, just cooperate as much as possible. It's awkward. People want to go against what they're told most of the time, especially from the government. But I think that the best thing to do for everyone now is just to cooperate, keep busy. We're trying to keep everyone as busy as possible, doing these podcast recommendations, and you can recommend things for us to talk about as well. So
definitely.
Please do that. But yeah, Simon's got a great point. The sooner, the more we cooperate, hopefully the sooner this thing goes away. And it looks like it will be a few weeks before any lockdown is lifted, but we'll get there. We're on week 3 now. We're still doing things, and we'll still continue to do things for you guys. And yeah, do things for us. Forward things to us. Let us know anything that you want us to talk about, anything that might have missed in the news that you want us to discuss. Ask us questions like we did with Brian Lacey. Ask us questions, we'll answer them online. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. This will be all over social media. When you do listen to it, please like, share, subscribe. Yeah, link in. Peace
Peace
guys.
out. Enjoy your weekend, guys.